Of the whole thing. I'm looking at England every time Boris Johnson comes on and he's incoherent. I don't know what he's on with here.
Special thank you, but of course it's a bleak friendship that we forged together, because you are on the other side of the border and me on the... I cannot tell you to stay, but all I can do is remind you that this too will pass. To quote that great Scottish play, time passes. Don't leave now, because 10 years from now we might not have a nincompoop in Downing Street. 10:30 is the time. Holly Harris has the headlines.
A cabinet minister says the government will decide next week how to end the current coronavirus lockdown, but there should be a significant easing of controls. Scientists have warned a tougher tier system will be needed until vaccine. John's ambulance says it has thousands of clinically trained volunteers who can help deliver a coronavirus vaccine when it's rolled out. The law on immunisations was amended last month to allow them to be administered by non-medics. A lorry full of Apple products worth £5 million have been stolen on the M1 in Northamptonshire. The driver of the lorry and a security guard were tied up at the scene last week. The weather dry, mild and mostly cloudy for many. Some rain at times for western areas. A high of 15 degrees.
The Ford Upgrade and Save More promotion ends 30th of November. Instead of a £1,000 upgrade saving, you can now enjoy up to a £2,000 upgraded saving off the recommended retail price across the Ford range. And yes, you can still get 3 months deferred payment and 0% APR finance on selected vehicles financed with Ford Credit. What more do you want? A tap dance? Visit Ford.co.uk and save even more.
Exclusions and deposit restrictions apply. Combined promotions available until 30th of November 2020 at participating dealers. Free post Ford Credit.
This is the sound of business owners bossing their day with Sage.
Fish delivery, bossed. Invoices, sorted.
Clients work out, boss. Expenses smashed.
Tax return, done.
Take control of business. New financial tools from Sage. Boss it. Get 50% off for 4 months at sage.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Busted boiler on a freezing day. Typical. Now we're spending more time at home. So before that happens, get a quote from British Gas on a new one. Spread the cost interest-free over 2 years and get £150 off or £350 off if you're an existing home care customer. And of course, we'll follow social distancing guidelines. Offer ends 30th of November. British Gas, here to solve. Search British Gas new boiler. Conditions apply. British Gas New Heating Limited is a credit broker and uses a panel of lenders.
This is an ad for M&S Energy. Honestly, it's not the most exciting ad you'll hear today. No opera singers, drumming gorillas, not even a jingle. It's not that we couldn't be bothered, it's just all our energy has gone into saving you money instead. Quite a lot when it comes to your energy bill.
Now we're talking!
Sorry, forgot ourselves there. M&S Energy. We put our energy into saving you money, not flashy radio ads. Get a quote at mnsenergy.com. Savings based on medium consumption defined by Ofgem and prices averaged across all regions and compared to average Big 6 standard variable tariffs.
It's Black Friday on eBay, and with up to 50% off, what's not to love? Love Christmas shopping in your PJs?
Black Friday on eBay.
Love a tech refurb deal?
Black Friday on eBay.
Then you'll love eBay's up to 50% off Black Friday. Buy, sell, eBay.
Your start it up is our warm it up. Your masterpiece is our get it in one piece.
It's just never gonna fit. Is how we'll reverse it in, bit by bit. And your daily marathon, when it's done, is how we're ready to start work and we'll put the kettle on. Because your business is our business. Volkswagen Commercial Vehicles, working with you. Park assist optional extra. Driver assistance only. Driver must retain control at all times. Many van centres open late for bookings. See volkswagenvans.co.uk for details.
James O'Brien on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
10:34 is the time, and I think I might be able to offend everybody today. So even as the love for Raymond comes pouring into the studio, as I bid him farewell, I managed to offend all of Scotland and all of Wales by misattributing the famous Dylan Thomas line from Under Milk Wood to Shakespeare's Scottish play. So bear with me, by 1 o'clock today there won't be a listener left who isn't on some level offended. Time passes, listen, time passes, come closer. Dylan Thomas, where the heck did I get the Scottish play from? Anyway, I digress. It's me. I'll just read out some of the love for Raymond, if I may, actually, so that he can record this and play it back to his wife when she's being unappreciative of his insights and pearls of wisdom. Raymond has to be one of the best callers you've had during the whole pandemic. Thoroughly enjoyed his take on Boris Zoom Johnson's. Everything I love about Scotland, says Stephen, is being conveyed by the amazing Scottish guy Raymond right now. Quite a few going for the Everybody Loves Raymond line, and my personal favourite. Blimmin' heck, James, I've only been to Scotland once, but I'm cheering Raymond from the rafters. Well, I am and I'm not. I want to be able to look a Scotsman in the eye and say, please stay. And right now, because of Brexit and Boris Johnson, I can't. Can you? Alex is in Edinburgh. Alex, what would you like to say?
Good morning, James.
Hello.
So I voted for Brexit a few years ago, and quite shortly after the vote, I deeply regretted it and seen how moronic it is. However, I would not like Scotland to make the same mistake that I did. I thought the Scottish independence movement is just the flip side of Brexit.
Do you really?
Absolutely.
Because that's fascinating. I mean, for a whole heap of reasons. Because, I mean, none of us are going to get 100% right, are we, on our analyses? But I see, I see the Scottish independence chiefly as a reaction, the surge in Scottish independence, the recent surge, as a reaction against what Brexiters have done. But the reason I'm stumbling over my words is because I don't think I'm contradicting you. I think it can actually be like Brexit and also be a reaction against Brexit, can't it?
I suppose it can. If you come up here and you speak to a lot of the Scottish independence supporters, the parallels between them and Brexiteers are very clear.
Until you bring the EU into it, oddly, because the economic arguments, the ones that, you just need to believe sunlit uplands will be fine, I see those parallels. But does anybody really have a proper bead yet on what a Scotland that's a member of the European Union but not a member of the United Kingdom would be like economically versus a Scotland that's not a member of the European Union but is a member of the United Kingdom? That's the problem for me, is that no one knows that.
Scottish government's own figures show that 60% of Scottish exports go to the rest of the UK, 19% go to the European Union,
now
and
they
21%
do. Now they do. But when we're no longer in the European Union, that needle's going to go in one direction, and this theoretical future Scotland that returns to the European Union and leaves the United Kingdom, where does that needle go? I don't know. I'm not arguing with you or offering it up as a counterbalance and saying they'll be better off if X happens. I'm just saying, who knows?
What we've learned from the Brexit negotiations with the European Union is that preserving the integrity of the single market is the most important thing to the European Union.
Yeah.
That means if an independent Scotland
they'll be like Northern Ireland is now. They'll have to be separate.
It would be a full-scale hard border to protect the integrity.
Yeah. Through the middle of the United Kingdom, taking back control, eh?
And a big chunk of Scottish exports are financial services, and RBS,
right?
now NatWest, has said that they would move to London just because of the size of their...
A lot of RBS and NatWest are already moving to Frankfurt.
Well, the head office would
the Scottish head office would move, yeah. You see what I mean? Because I don't think we're arguing with each other. I think we're feeling similarly about the prospect, and yet that economic argument has at least been thrown into disarray by Brexit, hasn't it?
I'd argue it's been made stronger. UK trade is more important to Scotland than EU trade is. The fact is, after decades of single market membership, only 19% of Scottish exports go to the European Union.
But then I say to you, well, if financial services are such a big deal, then post-Brexit, Scotland is quite well placed to, if it was still in the European Union, it could start selling its financial services into the largest trading bloc in the world, as opposed to being confined to one of the smallest.
On the personal level, if I felt that Scottish independence was imminent, I would leave the country, because I think financially it would be so utterly disastrous. There could be decades of poverty.
And you should know, because you voted for Brexit.
Well, this would be on a whole another level.
You reckon?
This would be on a whole another... untangling a 300-year-old successful union for the sake of Brexit or
no, as I say, I don't think I'm going to argue with anybody today, because I feel sad more than anything else, and I don't have as much Scotland with ground to do. And yet, I mean it. I don't think I can argue with a single thing you've said. And yes, a few texts pointing out I have become a sort of confessional for regretful Brexit folks, but there's no point gloating or smarting, you know. Quickly, because it's all about me today. We're talking about my current inability to look you in the eye and say, stay, please stay. So, crack on.
So Mark Blythe at the...
Cocktail of democratic deficit and the peculiar uselessness of the current British Prime Minister. But what will the hangover feel like?
But what hangover? I mean, ultimately...
Well, you wake up at some point, hence And there's no guarantee you'll get another referendum, but if you did tomorrow, I think we could be fairly confident which way it would go in the current climate. You wake up 10 years hence, and all of the economic arguments which Mark Blythe has, you tell me, dismissed.
Right, okay, so let's look at this, and Scotland is a population of 5 and a bit million people.
Yeah.
A big part of Scotland's economy is agriculture, but the new part of Scotland's economy is renewable energy, and that's where the Scottish economy is going, towards renewable energy. Regardless, we will still be a northern European country. Tell me a northern European country that's suffering from the economic disaster that anybody that's anti-Scottish independence is describing.
Well, it depends who you replace.
Ireland, without any of the resources that Scotland has naturally, is doing much. The average person in the Republic of Ireland is leading a better life than the average person in Scotland. How can that be?
I don't know. I'm not here to win the argument for once. I'm here to express a sort of plaintive sense of regret, and I can't argue with you. I actually can't argue with you, because I think that would prove all of the stereotypes about English paternalism and exceptionalism, things which I'm not normally guilty of. But in the context of talking about Scotland and Wales, in a different way, Northern Ireland, I can hear it in my own voice. I can hear this kind of, well, you know, we know what's best. And that's just gross. It's not the only gross thing I've done today. As Jane points out, good morning, James, surely you mean look a Scottish person in the eye, unless you only want men to call you. Language matters, and so far only men have called you. And that's from Jane, who describes herself as a Scottish woman. You're absolutely right. I told you I was going to offend everybody today, so that's all women, all Welsh people, and all Scots people. And all Brexiters, because I offend them just by being alive and right about everything. Who's left? How do I upset Remainers? Oh, by telling them that they don't exist anymore. There is no such thing. We lost. You're a loser, baby. And just to prove Jane wrong, because I can't help myself, Dee Dee will be up first after the break. Dee Dee, no, Dee Dee is actually a man, so that didn't go very well. Dee Dee, I'll be speaking to you shortly. It's 10:46.
This is LBC.
At Morrison's, selected chocolate pouches are now £2.50 each. Choose from Heroes, Celebrations, Cadbury's Dairy Milk, and many more. Morrison's, making Christmas special. Majority of stores and online, subject to availability, 350 grams to 450 grams. Offer ends 24th of November 2020.
When was the last time somebody bought something from your website? In fact, if you didn't have to pay money to search engines, would you be able to sell anything at all? With Golgi, you don't even need a website to sell your stuff online. Just go to golgi.com, add your name and product list, and start selling. Simple, right? The best part, Golgi doesn't take upfront fees or commission. It's all about you and your customers. So why make selling online complicated? Let Golgi do the hard work for you. Want to sell? Golgi.
That's GOLLGI.com. At the Halifax, we know that catching up and checking in on each other has never been more important. So this year, when our customers couldn't come into a Halifax branch, we picked up the phone and gave them a call. We've made over 250,000 wellbeing calls so far, and we'll keep checking in on our customers throughout the winter months, just to see if they're doing okay. Halifax, it's a people thing.
At Bupa Dental Care, we appreciate you're probably fed up to the, well, back teeth, even front teeth, with things being cancelled, called off or closed. The good news is, we're still open, so whatever's been put on pause, your smile doesn't have to be one of them. We're here to provide a full range of COVID-safe private dental treatments at your local Bupa Dental Care practice. So book an appointment today at bupadentalcare.co.uk and get ready to take your smile off pause. A separate COVID-19 safety tariff will apply.
Trusted PPE talked to Dave Rowe, manager at Nottingham Venue Junkyard.
The whole time that staff are on shift, you're wearing a mask regardless of what area of the building you're in. Some people who wear masks, some people who wear visors, some people who wear masks and visors. We provide everything. If the staff feels as you come in, you're going to feel.
Protect your staff and your customers with bulk buy masks and visors from trustedppe.co.uk. Order before 4 p.m. weekdays for same-day dispatch. Rated excellent on Trustpilot.
It's all so quiet.
Before the sun rises and the day slowly wakes. Before the morning jogs and the school runs. Before heading off to work or the home office, there is Worcester Bosch. Always warm, always there. Before everything, there's Bosch. Worcester Bosch. Search Worcester Bosch for more.
This Black Friday, get super reliable Sky Broadband Superfast for just £25. And now with anytime calls. So everyone can stream, game and share. Because we guarantee you get the speed we promised or money back. It's now only £25 a month for 18 months plus £19.95 setup. For new and existing customers, hurry to sky.com. Offer ends November 30th. Prices may change during contract. Sky Fibre area speed varies by locations. Average download speed 59 megabytes. Speed to hub must drop below minimum download speed 3 days in a row. 1 month's refund. More at sky.com.
The first time my housemates see it, they're like, we all get in, seatbelts on, flick that switch to turn on the motor, and we're off. I say, connect me, and the bass goes, and everyone's loving it when we hit the road. Back home from another mini electric journey, we're like, search Mini Electric and don't just drive it, feel it.
Leading Britain's conversation. LBC with James O'Brien.
10 to 11 already. I'm sorry, it's becoming one of my verbal kind of tics, isn't it, at the moment, commenting on how fast time seems to be going. Well, you know what they say when you're having fun. 40% of the crew of the British fishing fleet are currently foreign nationals. When Brexit kicks in on the 1st of January, i.e. in about 6 weeks' time, there's currently no visas available for future crew, which means that some of our unemployed former Brexit Party MEPs will at least be able to find gainful employment working on the fishing trawlers of the United Kingdom, a sector that they, of course, have professed to care so much about. Far me suggest that Nigel Farage's attendance record at the Fisheries Committee at the European Parliament might provide a better indication of how much they really care about the fishing industry than their ludicrous bloviations and pronouncements. But here's the perfect way to prove it. Of course we care about the fishing industry. All those currently unemployed former MEPs have insisted, so here's an opportunity to go and work for it. Okay, and that's a decision by the Home Office not to put fishermen and women on the shortage list, which has been put together by the Migration Advisory Committee. So it's all fact-based. 10:51 is the time. You're listening to James O'Brien on LBC. If we've learned anything from Scottish politics over the last few years, it's that profiles like this probably belong to a real person, as opposed to some sort of figment of a Russian troll factory manager's imagination. So I'll read you the profile rather than the name. The silent majority. I stand for traditional values and individual responsibility. Give me my constitution, my Bible and my guns. You can keep the change. And they've contributed to today's conversation with Let Them Go. Scotland are a bunch of whiners peddling socialism, subsidised by England. Weird American friend, you are going to be in for a major shock when you get round to reading that Bible and see where Jesus would fit into the scale that you describe as socialism. Dominus Vobiscum. Dee is in Argyll. Dee, where were we?
Good morning. Well, I'm just going to want to pick up on what you just said, actually. Before I just very brief my thoughts on Brexit, if I could just give you the perspective of someone who has, perhaps like yourself and many of your listeners, watched the UK change out of all recognition through my lifetime.
Starting from when? Just out of
I can tell you exactly when it started. I remember being slightly out of step, coming from the west coast of Scotland, from a shipbuilding town, and a fairly affluent place that had done well out of industry, when Mrs Thatcher got elected.
Oh really? That far back?
Yes, because we all thought it was an aberration, it was a mistake, that very quickly people realised that these policies she's pursuing, which initially appeared to make us so much better off, were actually destroying the very fabric of our country. And I was quite young at the time, and a little naive, and my view was, well, give her a chance, you know what, I agree, you work hard, you do well. You know, the privatisation of things, well, we all see how that has ended out. You know, we pay so much more for so much less, and most countries in Europe were far too smart to privatise their rail network and their public utilities. But anyway, what I really wanted to say, if I can, you know, it's taken a long time. I'm kind of shocked that Boris Johnson, someone like Boris Johnson, could even have become Prime Minister of this once great country. I no longer consider myself British.
Really?
Because I do not recognise the country I grew up in. The country where we had
listen, I'm not being glib, but Gordon Brown was Prime Minister just 11 years ago.
Well, actually, he's part of the problem, and I'll tell you.
But he is Scottish, though. We can at least agree on that.
You see, it's got nothing to do with race. I do not have a race.
No, I know, but you said you don't feel British anymore, and I'm pointing out that the last British Prime Minister but two was actually Scottish.
Do you know why I don't feel British?
No, tell me.
It's got nothing. Yeah, I'd love to. Do you know what it is? It's everything that I admire. Growing up, I was born in 59, so if that gives you some kind of perspective.
Yeah, you sound younger.
I grew up swinging London, and and I remember having worked in industry. British manufacturing and engineering was respected all over the world. We were good at this. It was all sold off during Thatcher because it was cheaper to manufacture abroad. And I've worked with a lot of engineers. Those engineering skills and jobs went abroad as well. So it's not like we could just open a factory tomorrow. And
well, that's the point, though, isn't it? You can vote for independence tomorrow under the theoretical framework that we're operating under today.
Morning, James. How are you?
I'm pretty good, actually. I've enjoyed doing a Scottish phone, and we should do it more often.
Well, I mean, I've got quite a checkered past myself. I am Scottish, obviously. Grew up, born and bred in Fort William.
Yes.
Moved away, joined the military. So I was very proud of the UK.
Yeah, you joined the British military, didn't you?
I did, I did. Travelled all over the world and lived in lots of areas in England. At the time before the 2014 independence referendum, it was very clear that we were all the same. We were all British.
Yes.
And one of the main things, and I feel like I'm a cliche now because it doesn't get mentioned, that's about the fact that 62% of Scotland voted to stay in the EU.
Yeah.
And I think definitely if there had been more, with the Scottish Party, the Scottish government being part of the negotiations.
It's incredible, isn't it?
I just don't. I mean,
this is where I haven't got a prayer of arguing with you. 62%. They talk about the will of the people. I mean, how insulting and patronising. Do you know? Look, having grown up in England, it's shocking to me how hard I am hit by the thought of how I'd feel if it were the other way around. They had the audacity to abandon all of their own promises while talking about the will of the people. And everybody in Scotland is sitting there going, whip people. Which people? I said wit then, by accident. I went a bit Scottish for a while.
Well, you're Irish as well, so you've got a little bit of that.
Yes. But it is there, isn't it? I mean, what people, the will of who? The will of who? Pensioners in blinking Surrey?
And you can't see the internal market law and everything they're doing. Boris Johnson is just saying what he thought. At the end of the day. You said it before.
Casual anti-Scottish racism, really.
Absolutely. And he said it before, it was to do with a pound in Strathclyde being worth more. I can't remember the exact analogy, but I can remember the sentiment behind it.
Yeah.
And it's been there for years. And I think, it's very clear to me, I don't want a separatist, and I don't want to get called a nationalist.
No,
because that reminds me of Farage and his ilk.
Oof.
And I do not see,
well, here's the problem. Here's the problem, and you've taken me right up to the news. So I will take some more calls on this because you've just highlighted the problem. Is that the argument that Scotland needs to unhitch itself from England because England is so riddled with Johnsonian Johnsonism is a bit similar to the argument that the UK needs to unhitch itself from the European Union because the European Union is so riddled with X, Y and Z. What we've learned over the last 4 years is that the X, Y and Zs that people like Farage kept spouting about were not true. They were dishonest. So that's where this particular, if it was purely political theory we were discussing, that's where it gets really sticky. And actually I need to apologise. A few people have pointed out that when I suggested that the Scottish independence referendum had been even nastier than the Brexit referendum, I was just wrong, and I apologise because I temporarily overlooked that despicable Breaking Point poster.